Hello and welcome to the Different Strokes exercise programme. My name is John Graham. I'm the Clinical Director of Physiofunction, one of the UK's leading providers of independent outpatient stroke rehabilitation. I've worked with Different Strokes as an expert physiotherapy advisor for over 20 years. I've devised the classification system for this programme so that you can identify the level that matches your current abilities. Exercising at the correct level will allow you to benefit from exercising regularly at home whilst ensuring your safety at all times. I wish you every success with the programme. Before you begin any exercise programme or begin to follow any of the training recommendations, advice or other instructions, you should first consult your doctor and have a physical examination. The recommendations, advice and instructions provided by Different Strokes and the instructors leading these exercise sessions are in no way intended to replace or to be construed as medical advice. Build up slowly. Start with 1 to 2 sessions a week, gradually increase to 3 to 5 sessions a week. This is your level 3 session with Mathilde. Level 3 sessions are designed for people who can move their affected leg reasonably well, but who may have restricted movement in their affected arm. The exercises are a mixture of seated and standing exercises. For the standing exercises, you will need a sturdy upright chair to assist you with your balance. For your safety and to gain the greatest benefit, you will need to ensure that you have a carer or family member available to supervise your standing.
Hi everyone, I am Mathilde and welcome to the Level 3 Session 1 of the exercise programme. So today we are going to be working on mobility and movement. I have got a set of dumbbells here that we're going to be using for some of the exercises, and we're also going to be doing them based around the chair, some standing, some seated. Please take a moment to read the notes accompanying this video before starting, but we'll get started with a warm-up on the chair. So we don't need our weights just yet. We're going to start by marching on the spot, just to get our bodies moving for 5 minutes. And bringing one leg out in front. Good, and out to the sides. Good. Keep going. We're now going to reach down in between our legs, down as far as you can, and coming up nice and gentle, going just as low as it feels comfortable and sitting up nice and tall in between each one. Now we're going to take our hands apart and lean down to the opposite hand to opposite foot, and sitting up again nice and tall. Good. Good. Bring our hands together. We're going to reach up as high as possible and back down. Good. A few more of these. Lovely. Reaching forwards and twisting with one arm and then the other, just as much as you can. Doesn't matter if you don't have the full range of movement just yet. Good. And reaching down to the sides. You can bring the other arm up if you want, or you can just reach down to the sides like this. Good. And we're going to come forwards out of the chair a little bit if you can, or pushing into your feet. You don't have to come out of the chair, you can just push into your feet, you can feel these muscles in your thighs switching on, even if you're pushing and you're not coming out of the chair. But if you can, come out of the chair a little bit. Okay, nice and warmed up for our exercise today. Well done. Let's extend one leg and then the other, just as much as you can. Good. And now flexing the foot back and forth. And the other one, holding it out straight and flexing the foot. Good. Arms out to the side, reaching to one shoulder and then to the other. Lovely job. And we're just going to do ear to shoulder, gently, from side to side. And a few shoulder circles or shoulder shrugs. Lovely. So hopefully feeling a bit more limbered up and ready to do some work today. We are going to, because this is our first video, we're going to be doing an assessment just to see how you get on throughout the videos, and then we'll come back to the same assessment at the end. So our assessment for today is going to be a 60-second sitting and then standing up and sitting back down. So you're going to do that as many times as possible, or if that's not quite possible for you just yet, you can come up out of the chair. But I really encourage you to try and do as many sit to stands as possible within the minute. So even if it's just one for the time being, because I'm sure we can build on that, and we'll come back to that after these sessions. So I'm going to wait for my timer. We've got 15 seconds to prepare, so make sure your feet are in a nice position underneath you. You can bring your hands together, or if you need to, pushing up from the chair, but just remember what you did at the start so you can compare at the end. Off we go for a minute. Going at your own pace, so go faster than me if you can, and count how many you can do. And of course, go slower if you need to, go at your own pace. Standing all the way up and sitting back down. We've done 30 seconds so far. Keep going, keep counting. Twenty more seconds. 10. And 3, 2, 1. Lovely. Resting. It would be a good idea to make a note of how many you've done just now. So make a note in your phone or on a piece of paper, on a post-it note that you can stick on your fridge. You can come back to it. We'll just take a rest here because it's probably raised your heart rate quite a lot. We'll have a rest before we start our other exercises today, based on our mobility and movement. So there's going to be a bit of strength stuff in here as well, and just getting those bodies moving, easing you into the program. So hopefully you'll have written those down, and you feel your heart rate and your breaths coming back down a little bit more by now. We're going to go through a set of exercises. I'll explain them and we'll count them together. Going on to the next one, and we'll do a couple of rounds of these exercises. So the first one, hopefully we're all ready by now. I'll give you a moment to come behind the chairs, and we're going to be doing side stepping to the other side. So using the chair as much or as little as possible. If you'd like to follow along, once you're ready, once you get into position, sidestepping, see if you can get a nice rhythm going, and see if you can make those steps nice and wide as well. As wide as possible. Doing it at your own pace. If you need to slow it down to make sure that you're nice and balanced, that you're doing them properly as well. Trying to stay as upright as you can. Good. We're going to go for a few more. And pause for a moment. Our next one is still going to be standing. We're going to do a few squats now, which means holding onto the chair, your feet shoulder width apart, hopefully with your toes pointing outwards. You're going to bend your knees, stick your bum out, and come up again nice and tall. So bending those knees, going down as far as you can. Sometimes I like to think about sitting down in an imaginary chair behind you here, keeping that chest upright, looking forwards. Looking forwards always helps keep your chest nice and upright. Good. If you can, see if you can challenge yourself, not holding onto the chair, but don't do that if you're not ready to. You can bring your hands up here if you're ready for that challenge, but don't worry if not. I'm going to do a couple more. Good. And pause here for a moment. The next exercise we're going to do is reaching up as high as you can with one arm, reaching up with the other arm. And you can use the chair for balance in between, so you've always got a point of contact to help stabilize yourself if you need to. If you feel a bit off balance, always look at where your feet are, see if you can make them maybe that tiny bit wider, gives you a good base. But we're just reaching up, giving those arms a bit of work as well. Lovely. A few more of these. Let's go for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Now I'm going to ask you to come back to the chair, so come back at your own pace if you need to use the chair. Come back round, and we're going to grab our weights. So if you don't have weights, you can always use tins or bottles of water or anything like that. You're going to have your weights in your hands in between. You can grab your hands together if one of them needs extra support. And we're going to come forwards on the chair, so you're on the edge of the chair, your feet are apart, you're going to lean forwards as far as you can and sitting up nice and tall. So as you sit up nice and tall, extending through your lower back. Now we are working our lower back and our core a bit here. Good. Lovely. Let's go for 5 more. Keeping sitting up nice and tall in between. Trying to keep your back as straight as possible as you come down as well. 3 more. 2. Last 1. Very good. We're going to stay seated for our next one. It's going to be twists. So we're going to reach out to the front, twist around and back round. Good. Keep twisting, trying to twist your upper body, so your torso around a bit as well, not just the arms, and looking each way you're going. Good. And good. Let's rest. So we're going to do a couple of exercises. You can do seated or standing. So they look the same, really, both ways. So if you want to come standing, you can put one weight down on the chair, and we're going to do as big arm circles as you can do. So you could do exactly the same seated. Holding on with the other arm if you need to. Good. And then switch over to the other side. And again, doing nice big arm circles. Good. Lovely. Fab. And pop the weights down. If you are seated, please come up to standing behind the chair. Give you a moment to do so and a moment to rest. The next one's going to be more of a leg focused one again. So it's going to be backwards lunges. So you're going to hold onto the chair, bring one leg out back onto the ball of your foot on the back leg, and the front leg is nice and flat. You're going to bend down, bring your feet together, other leg coming back on the ball of your foot, front leg is still flat, front foot is still flat, and down. So bending those knees, going down, bending them as much as you can, so if it causes you any sort of pain, you don't have to go so far as me. You can go do a mini one, because it's all about transferring the weight as well. Good. So keep practicing these, doing them at your own pace, making sure they're nice and steady before driving that other foot back. Taking your time and listening to your body. If it doesn't want to go too low, don't force it to. But if you can, see if you can really bring that back knee nice and low. We'll do a few more. Good. And rest there for a moment. You can grab your weights. You don't have to use your weights for this one. And you can do just one arm if you'd like. We're going to do some side bends. So if you need to hold on with one arm, you can. And coming up nice and tall. We'll focus on one side to begin with, so pick whichever side. We'll bend down towards that side and coming up nice and tall. We're just bending sideways, we're not really coming forwards or backwards too much. You're going down until you feel a stretch in the opposite side and then coming back up nice and tall. Good. And let's do the other side. So switching over, and you can still have a point of contact on the chair. If you're doing these seated, or if you've come back down to the chair, you can do these seated as well, leaning over each side of the chair. Good. A few more. Lovely. Resting here for a moment. If you're still standing, put your weights down on your chair. We're now going to come into some heel raises, so holding on, you're coming onto your toes and back down. Good. Lovely. Great, you start to feel it in your calves a bit, feel them burning. We're now going to do some front raises, so you can do these seated or standing. If you need that a bit of extra support while you're standing, you've not quite got the balance just yet, please come back down to the chair. If you can, maybe lean on the chair for a tiny bit of extra support and have your hands together with the weights, bringing them up to eye level and back down. Good. Five more. Lovely. And rest. You can stay resting standing or sit back down. We'll only take 30 seconds here and we'll repeat a few of the exercises we've just done. Starting with our side steps, which is standing, so you might want to stay standing. So let's give it another 10 seconds. And off we go into our side steps. Good. Making them as wide as possible. We'll go through these exercises a little bit faster than last time, because now we're going to go into our squats, so making sure your feet are shoulder width apart, bending those knees, sticking your bum out, keeping that chest up. Good. The lower you can go, the more challenging you're making it for yourself, which is good. If you can do that, so just listen to your body and see how far down you can go and what feels comfortable as well, whilst maintaining a good form, keeping your chest up. We're now going to reach up to the sky with one hand and then the other, keeping a point of contact with the chair if you need to for that balance. And for the next one, we're going to come back down to the chair. So, coming back round, sitting on the front of the chair, shuffling forwards. So you've got a big gap between your back and the back of the chair. You're going to lean down and come up nice and tall. Doing our seated deadlifts, these are called. Working that lower back and that core. Good, if you can go all the way down to the floor, that's great, but you want to try and keep a nice straight back while we do it. Lovely. We're going into our seated twists. So twisting round, bringing the weights up. Roughly in line with your chin. Twisting all the way around so that you're facing each way that you're twisting as well. Good. Now, doing our arm circles. So let's focus on one arm at a time, circling it round with one weight in it, if you can. Good. And the other side. And then once we've done this side, we're going to come back into our standing behind the chair. Well done, everyone. Doing really well. We're nearly there for our first video of the series. Lovely. Let's come up to standing. Come behind the chair. Pop your weights down. We're doing our backwards lunge, so step back onto the ball of your foot, bend the knee, bring them together, step the other foot back and bend down, bring them together. Good. So just having a slight bend in the knee. Lovely. We're going to do side bends, so grabbing one of the weights, bending down to one side and up. You can still hold on with the other hand on the chair. Doing them nice and slowly, as to not lose balance. And switch over to the other side. And leaning down, so you feel that stretch and then coming up nice and tall in between each one. Good. Put the weights down. I'm going to do a few heel raises, coming up onto your toes, back down. Good. Lovely. And now for our front raises, so you can either come back down seated or stay standing, but we're going to raise both arms with this one, so do whatever is appropriate for you, your current ability. Raising it up and back down. Good. It's always good just to do it just behind your chair, and if you lose that balance, then you can grab on, reset, take your time and go again. Lovely. Let's do one more. Good. And we'll come back down to the chairs. We're almost done for today. Just have a little cool down. So have a bit of a stretch. Let's put one leg out nice and straight. You're sitting on the edge of your chair hopefully, and run your hand down your shin just as far as you can until you feel the stretch on the back of your leg. Hold it there. And do the same on the other side. And if you can, bring a knee up as high as possible. See if you can squeeze it all the way to your chest. Don't worry if not. You're nearly done your first session today, guys, so give yourselves a big pat on the back. Let's switch over to the other leg. Awesome. Bring one arm across, pull the elbow in, feeling a stretch in your shoulder. And the other side. Good. Stretch those fingers, those wrists out. Don't forget the thumb as well. Although don't push it too much. Hands are quite delicate, although they do need a good stretch. And the other side. Good. And we'll do ear to shoulder, holding it there this time, feeling that stretch in the opposite side. Try and let this shoulder that you're moving away from drop away even more. Breathing into the stretch. And over to the other side. Good. And relax for today. Awesome job, guys. Well done for completing your first exercise session. I look forward to seeing you on the next video, session 2. We're going to be working on a bit of cardio. And I will see you then. Bye bye.